Good afternoon, and thanks so much for joining us for our special online broadcast, Eclipse Across America. For the next hour and a half or so, as Michigan experiences today's solar eclipse, we'll be right here. And actually, we'll be all across the country to track the progress of totality. We've partnered up with our sister stations here in Michigan and all across the country. So, over the next 90 minutes or so, we will hopefully see and also learn a lot about solar eclipses and what makes today so unique for us here. All eyes will be to the skies in a matter of a few moments across Michigan and all across the country as well. We have several opportunities to track the progress of the totality as the solar eclipse makes its way. What we are looking at right now is what it will look like for much of the country, but don't worry, you aren't missing it yet. This is a view from a NASA telescope down in Mexico. This is what they are experiencing right now in terms of totality. You can see just that ever so slight crescent arch of the sun making its way past the moon. That is what many people across the country that are in that track will see as the afternoon progresses. And hopefully, wherever you are watching us from, you will also get an opportunity to see that. Of course, that is what it looks like right now in Mexico. But as we move across the country, we will also see and have the opportunity and folks in a lot of major cities to be in that path of totality. This is a live look right now at Austin, Texas. As you can see, Austin, Texas, a little bit of cloud cover in Austin. Austin is really the first major community that will be in the path of totality. Now, San Antonio, Texas, that's the first major city that will see the eclipse, but will not be in that path of totality. Austin, just on the outer edge of totality. The partial eclipse there began at 12:17. Totality began about 30 minutes ago at 1:36, with its peak actually just moments later. And within 2 minutes of that totality at 1:36 this afternoon, it was over. So a short experience for them. Let's move on up to Dallas, Texas now, if we can take that Dallas, Texas live camera. Totality began there at 1:40 in Dallas and lasted for just under 4 minutes. There's Dallas. You can see a little bit of darkness towards the top of your screen. Dallas is the center of the path, so it lasted longer, the totality there, than in Austin. But again, they are about 20 minutes past their complete totality. Moving further along and much further north in that path of totality, as everyone's been talking about, is Indianapolis, Indiana. Indianapolis, of course, much further north. Their totality not even close to happening yet there. We do have a live reporter in Indianapolis who will be checking in throughout our online special as the show gets underway in Indiana. The partial eclipse began in Indianapolis just after 1:50. So they're only about 13 minutes into that partial eclipse. As you move further north, that eclipse effect felt much longer, 2 hours and 33 minutes for them to come out on the other side of the eclipse. Totality there will be at 3:06 this afternoon, and it will last for just under 4 minutes. So they are just about an hour away from totality. Again, we do have a live reporter in Indianapolis who will be bringing us coverage as the event unfolds there. Moving further up the path of totality, we're going to head on over now to Cleveland, Ohio. You can kind of, if you've been following along this course that we've taken, you can kind of see the path of totality. Cleveland, a partial eclipse there began about 9 minutes ago, but it looks like every other afternoon in Cleveland so far. It will change. The eclipse there will last for about 3 hours and 50 minutes. Again, that is from beginning now through complete totality. Totality there is going to start at about 3:15 and is expected to be at its maximum right at 3:15, and then the sun will return. And just moments after Cleveland, Ohio, well, let's head on up to Buffalo, New York. That's Buffalo right now. The eclipse there began right now, 2:04. And in case you're tracking, that's 30 minutes after the eclipse began down in Austin, Texas. So you can kind of see the timeline and the chart of all this as this moves along. 1,500 miles from Austin, Texas, where the eclipse is, for all intents and purposes, complete, to Buffalo, where it has not really begun. In Buffalo, we're expecting 4 minutes of totality at 3:18. Currently, the last available live camera that we will have to look at here along the path is up in Burke, Vermont. The estimated start time for the state of Vermont is just under 10 minutes from now, 2:13. They are skiing in Burke, Vermont, could use a little clean off of the camera, but blue skies and little signs that an eclipse is on their way, because totality up in Burke, Vermont will begin at around 3:25 and end at 3:31. The partial eclipse will end over an hour later up in Burke, Vermont at 4:38. So that is a look across much of the country. But let's talk about right here in Michigan, where we imagine so many of our viewers are joining us right now. We are going to head on over to that, of course, Detroit. Beautiful afternoon in Detroit, Michigan. Detroit is closer to the path of totality than probably many of our viewers across northern Michigan who happen to be tuning in. The majority of the state of Michigan is outside of the complete path of totality. We do have one region, though, which is inside the path of totality. It's a very small region down in Monroe County. It's the furthest southeastern portion of our state. We will have live reports from Monroe County throughout today's broadcast as well. If you're trying to figure out in Michigan, just how much are you going to see? Here we are taking a live look at Detroit. 99.43% of an eclipse there. So it will be almost a total eclipse. You go down to Monroe County, you're in the path of totality, 100%. As you move your way from Detroit to the northwest, those percentages, the completion of that totality continues to decline. For example, you get to Lansing, it's 96%. Up in Traverse City, closer to 88%. You get to Sault Ste. Marie, 84%. And all the way over to Marquette in the western UP, you're much closer to 79%. Well, that is a look at what we can expect as we make our way through the afternoon. Thank you so much again for joining us. We will continue to be here throughout the afternoon and joining some of our live reporters as we follow along that path of totality. So hopefully you have an opportunity to see the eclipse multiple times, maybe only once live in your own backyard, but we hopefully, because of our partnerships across the country, will bring you multiple views throughout the next hour and a half or so. Our coverage of the eclipse across America continues with coverage from our sister station, News Channel 3 in Kalamazoo, with anchors Andy Dominiani and Jessica Hopper.
It is a very exciting day and 7 years in the making.
That's right. Can you remember where you were during the last solar eclipse? Well, we have members of our news team along the path of totality today. Take a look at this. News Channel 3's meteorologist Will Haney is live in Indianapolis. We also have Chief Meteorologist Keith Thompson live in Bluffton, Indiana. And also in Monroe County, Michigan, Mike Woolfolk from our sister station, WEYI, is live in Erie Township. And of course, our very own News Channel 3's Autumn Pitcher is live today in Kalamazoo.
All to give you the best view. We begin with our Chief Meteorologist Keith Thompson live in Bluffton, Indiana, south of Fort Wayne, directly in the path of this totality. And Keith, show us the excitement where you are right now.
Yeah, you know what? Live in Bluffton, Andy here. In fact, we're about to see the balloon launch. If you've been watching my stories, you know what we're talking about. This is a balloon that's going to be carrying several GoPro cameras that are going to be live streaming the view of the eclipse from miles above the surface. It's going to be fascinating. By the way, the eclipse has already started here, and so that's why I have my glasses handy. And so I've already taken a gander up at the sun with the glasses, and you can start to see a little bit of that moon moving over the sun. Just a reminder, if you don't have these ISO certified glasses, do not look up at the sun during this time. And so right now they have filled the balloon. This is a research balloon. They're going to be doing scientific experiments. And then also they're going to be live streaming this, not only back down to the folks here in Bluffton, but also across the globe to a couple of schools in Ukraine, who the Bluffton School and also Manchester High School nearby, they have a relationship with. So we're waiting for them to launch that balloon at any time. And you know what they're going to be seeing, just to give you an idea? They're going to be anywhere from about 12 to 13, 14 miles above the Earth. Now, of course, the upper winds here are going to take this over into western Ohio. And in fact, this balloon is going to get as high as 20 miles above the surface before it pops. And then they have a chase crew that's going to be chasing all of the instruments that are on there. So from 12 miles up, this balloon is going to be over western Ohio, and it's going to be looking back on us here in Bluffton. And you're going to be able to see that shadow of the eclipse racing its way 2,000 miles per hour right across the landscape. We are excited. We're waiting for it. That balloon will go up at any time. Back to you.
All right, Keith, live in Bluffton. We're just over an hour away from the total eclipse, and folks are very excited.
That's right. Let's head now to Will Haney. And Will, a very exciting time for you and your family to experience only twice in our lifetime. Will?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Greetings from the Hoosier State. I'm here live in Indianapolis. We are at White River State Park. And since about 8:30 this morning, we've been just seeing so many hundreds and now thousands of people trickling into the park, literally all around me. We got people on blankets, on chairs, and exciting to report, of course, that the eclipse is now underway, the partial eclipse. I want to just show you the scene here, though. So they're expecting as many as 20,000 people just at this event alone, again, at White River State Park. It's downtown Indianapolis. Right across the river is the Indianapolis Zoo. And then at the International Motor Speedway, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that is, they're expecting about 40,000, and in total, about 100,000 people expected, just visitors, to flock to the city to see the eclipse. So again, there's something about it. When you start seeing the moon creep its way across the surface of the sun, that excitement is now really starting to build, and everyone's grabbing these glasses and doing this a lot more right now. And we're going to have more live reports as we get closer to totality, which here is set to arrive at about 3:06 p.m. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, well, thanks so much. So many people milling about. He's in a great location there today. Well, of course, we all know that weather can make or break what you'll see this afternoon. And our weather team has been monitoring very closely the weather conditions for today for weeks now.
Yeah, fingers crossed. It all comes down to this last hour. And meteorologist Colin Rogers is here. And Colin, what do folks need to know?
Andy, Jessica, well, we couldn't have lucked out any better across West Michigan. Just a few high, thin cirrus clouds. Otherwise, we're seeing sunny skies, and much of the path of totality is seeing some fantastic weather right now. There's two trouble spots. One down here in Texas. We'll notice some more cloud cover across Evansville, up into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But as we start to move further north and east, notice we start getting away from that cloud cover. So seeing a lot more clearing across portions of southeastern Missouri, southern Illinois, into Indianapolis. We just checked in with Will, and you could see a pretty good look there. There are some high cirrus clouds, but you can see through those cirrus clouds and into the sun. So no viewing issues as we head into areas of southern Illinois, Indianapolis. New York, not the place to be with the eclipse right now. They're dealing with some cloud cover and some rain, but across West Michigan, we are having fantastic weather. That's how we're going to stay over the next hour or so. Of course, that peak time for us to view it is right around 3:10, give or take a few minutes, depending on where you're located in Michigan. But overall, we lucked out. We have some great weather across West Michigan. Andy, Jessica.
All right, Colin, thank you. Let's check in with Mike Woolfolk. He's in Monroe County at the Erie Marsh Preserve, one of the only places in our state where the path of totality will happen.
That's right. So Michigan is in one of those areas. And Mike, what's going on over where you're at this afternoon?
Hey there, everybody. Yeah, we're kind of like on that little sliver of the state of Michigan that will get totality. And I just took a look up at the sun through my approved glasses here and see that the eclipse has in fact started. The moon has started moving its way across the sun. See that it has started here. Again, we are at the Erie Nature Preserve, and boy, this is a beautiful. It's for like bird watching. It is all about eclipse watching, and as you can see behind me, there are any number of folks who have gathered. Most of these folks are affiliated with the Nature Conservancy, which runs this facility. And so they've invited their staff and their families to come out and experience this, what for many is a once in a lifetime, certainly a once in a generation type experience of being able to witness a total solar eclipse. Did some talking to some folks out here. A lot of them have followed eclipses over the years, but for many of them, almost all that I've spoken with today, this is their first experience with a total eclipse. And while totality here is only expected to last anywhere from, depending on who you talk to, 30 to 90 seconds, even 5 seconds will probably be considered very, very cool for these folks, many of whom don't expect to be around when another one of these happens in 20 years. And I think totality in this area won't happen for another, say, 40 years. So this is really a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of folks. I myself have only experienced partial eclipse in eclipses, I should say, in the past. And so this is the first time that I will experience, to my knowledge anyway, a total solar eclipse. I talked to one woman, in fact, she's the director here. She has 1 year in age on me, and she says she may have experienced the last total eclipse that she doesn't recall it, but in her lifetime, she was 1 year old. So it was probably about the time when I was just born. Guys, back to you.
All right, Mike, thanks so much. And what a perfect day to be outside. I'm kind of jealous of all those folks with the, the lawn chairs, and they got the blanket out on the grass.
Gorgeous
Lucky
weather.
you.
Yeah, Autumn Pitcher live in Kalamazoo. Autumn, big crowd where you are as well, huh?
Yes, Andy, Jessica, like you just said, it is beautiful out here. I think it's about 75 degrees, and you can see hundreds of people out here at the Kalamazoo Valley Museum to see this eclipse. Now, they were lining up all day long, grabbing those eclipse glasses. The first 2,500 were free to the first people that showed up to the museum. But I want to walk aside here because these folks have been out here all day long. Introduce yourself and tell us why you came out to see the eclipse.
Hi, I'm Todd. And
I'm Renee.
And just again, it's something that you don't get to see, every day. So just I think that's it.
You knew you had to be a part of it.
Yes, absolutely.
And how long have you been out here?
For a little bit now, yeah.
And have you ever seen the eclipse before? Have you guys even ever witnessed one?
I have, yeah. In 2017, I was out at an arboretum on top of a hill by myself, but I went because it was an extraordinary thing to see, and it was a lot of fun. Everybody talked and got along just like they're doing here. It was really great.
So you knew you had to come out again.
I knew it. I just knew it.
We're going to keep walking around, but thank you folks so much. Now, what I want to show you guys is we have all kinds of people that are on the lawn here. We have this lovely woman. Tell me where you're from and why you came out to see the eclipse.
Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay.
Because this is the best thing that ever happened in Kalamazoo.
That's wonderful. And have you seen an eclipse before? First time?
Yeah, this is the first time.
And you got your glasses?
Yeah. For sure. We're not going to ruin our eyeballs out here.
Absolutely. It's beautiful weather. We're going to keep it moving.
You have a beautiful dress, too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to keep it moving. I want to show you. We had some kids earlier on the chalk. They were doing all kinds of different sun and designs. We also have all kinds of people over here laying in their blankets. They're camped out. It's beautiful weather. Tell me, folks, are you excited for the eclipse?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's been a while since I've seen one.
How long have you been camped out?
Maybe about an hour.
You guys look like you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And we spoke with you earlier. You have your eclipse glasses and you brought your kids out.
Yes. Yep. They're out there having fun looking at the telescopes and everything.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you, folks. And speaking of those telescopes, we want to show you that right now. If you join with me this way, we'll show you those telescopes. Hello, folks.
Hi.
Tell me about what we have here with the telescopes.
All right. We've got a sun funnel here, so we're able to see the projection of the sun as the big one here, and then the moon going across it there. So just kind of watching that.
Absolutely. And what's it looking like so far?
So far, we just got a little teeny bit, a little Pac-Man kind of
Is there
thing going
anything
on.
we can see if we look into these?
So these are just specifically for sun funnels. So we're just seeing the projection here, but we're not going to look into it, just the sun funnel to keep it safe for us.
Wonderful. That's awesome. That's awesome. And then we have this big one over here. I don't know if you know. What can you tell us about this one?
It's basically the same situation, just not as clear, but yeah, a little bigger. And yeah, I'm not as good at describing it.
They look like big cannons. And then if you follow with me over here, my photographer, he's going to show, we actually have some folks that are looking up at the eclipse right now. They all have their glasses on. They are ready to roll. And what's really cool is I was talking about this earlier. When you put those eclipse glasses on inside, you can't see a thing. It's completely black. It's almost like you're wearing a blindfold. But man, when you come out here, you can look right up at the sun and, of course, see that eclipse. So it's been pretty incredible. At the Kalamazoo Valley Museum, they have actually viewing that's indoors as well. We know that there's been live NASA coverage. We've had quite a bit of folks actually line the theater inside. But as you can see, why not taking advantage of being outside on this gorgeous day? Not about any cloud cover really that we've seen. And look at these people. They're having all kinds of fun joining with their families. So I'll send it back to you guys at the desk.
All right, Autumn, thanks so much. I'm sure those kids will be making a lot of core memories today. Well, we'd love to see what your eclipse plans are, so send us your photos and videos. We already have some coming in right now. Check out this guy, this cool dude right here. So cute. Just head to WWMT.com and click on Chime In. We'd love to show your pictures live on air.
Autumn's right. Inside, you can see nothing, just blackness.
Yeah, she's not kidding.
Inside, yeah. Well, many of us are approaching totality, and we're happy that you're with us as we count down this last hour to the eclipse.
That's right. You're watching our exclusive online special, Eclipse Across America. We're bringing you massive regional coverage of this event. Let's head over to our sister station, WPBN Now, for more.
Let's see. Andy, Jessica, thanks so much for that. We appreciate that and appreciate the coverage from across the Midwest. This is an exciting day for so many people as that path of totality slowly marches its way to the northeast of the country. Again, we are not in that phase yet. We're seeing a lot of comments like, did I miss it? No, if you're here in Michigan, you have not missed it yet. We still have time to do to get into place and take the necessary precautions. One of the places we were just a few moments ago was Indianapolis. That, if you are familiar with auto racing here in America, is the start finish line at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that 2.5-mile oval in Indianapolis, where oftentimes in May crowds pack in to watch the qualifying, then of course the running of the Indy 500. Today, smaller crowds are packing in order to get a good sight of the totality in the solar eclipse that is going to be making its way across Indianapolis. That is, of course, not the only place that folks are gathering. Here in northern Michigan, well, we may not have the totality, but we certainly have locations that are beautiful to spend an afternoon staring up at the sky. And that
Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore, where there's hundreds of people here from all over. We have people in the parking lot and on the dunes. I've met with folks from Cedar, Comstock Park, and also Kentucky. I am joined here with a family right now. That is some viewers. I'm joined here with Adelaide, Heidi, Grayson, and Henrik. Now, where are you from?
We're from Traverse City, so we didn't have to drive too far, but we're enjoying one of our most favorite places in the world at the Sleeping Bear Dunes, aren't we, guys?
Yeah. Got a nice solar eclipse. It's already began, and personally for me, I really enjoy space. And just ever since I was about his age, I have always been interested in space and rockets. And like, we were just down in Florida a little bit ago, and I see the rocket take off, and I'm like, so it's super cool when you get to see your rocket, and then you get the feeling of, you can hear about the gravity and what people say about it, and it's super cool. So getting to see the solar eclipse from the ground, although people in space I'd like to see what it looks like from space, but it's a pretty amazing sight to see.
And when did you arrive, and why did you choose the dunes today?
Yes, well, we homeschool, so we have this wonderful flexibility, and we kind of just gave up our regular curriculum lesson for the day, and the Sleeping Bear Dunes gave us these awesome little pamphlets, and we all got junior ranger badges for today by learning more about the solar eclipse. And so it's a awesome place to see a very unique event.
And we love climbing dunes. It's so fun to run up and down the big hills of sand.
And you've mentioned that you've seen the solar eclipse before. What is different, and what are you experiencing differently or the same from the years previous?
Well, the last time Grayson was about Henrik's age, and we didn't, I guess, know as much about the solar eclipse. So with this good pamphlet, and as the kids have gotten older, I guess we can go more in depth with our studies, of course. So it's very exciting.
And anything you two would like to last say about the solar eclipse?
I haven't saw a solar eclipse before, but this one has been pretty cool. It just kind of started, and it's like really cool to me. I like the solar eclipse and the sand dunes climbing all together.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for joining us here. Reporting live from Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore, I'm Madison Stoddard. Back to you.
What a fun field trip for those young people and all of the adults as well to get to go experience that. There are people all across the country that will be headed out to their backyards or out to the dunes or out to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to look up at the sky. But this is also an exciting opportunity for folks to go to places like planetariums where they may have some of the specialized equipment that really gives you that special view of a rather unique experience that we are going to have. So we continue our coverage with our reporter from our sister station, Mid-Michigan Now. Andrea Flores is at a planetarium in Michigan with a look at the crowds there waiting in anticipation.
It's Andrea Flores with Mid-Michigan Now, and I'm at the Longway Planetarium. As you can see behind me, we're getting set up to view the eclipse, and I've got my solar glasses ready to go. Mid-Michigan Now joined the Longway Planetarium for a special viewing of the eclipse. Viewers lined up for a close-up look using telescopes with solar filters to safely view the phenomenon. Resident of Flint says this was a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
The moon come over the sun, you know, and I mean, it's not going to happen for another 20-some years, so I'm 63 and... who knows if I'll still be alive.
As we get closer to maximum, it's important to remember to view safely. You should be using solar eclipse glasses. You can purchase them directly from Longway. They'll have organized activities until 5 p.m. From Mid-Michigan Now, I'm Andrea Flores.
Well, thank you very much for that. An exciting day across Michigan. Well, an eclipse in and of itself is not that rare. According to NASA, anywhere from 4 to 7 can happen in any given year. It is unusual for the path of totality to sweep right across many of our backyards, especially those here in Michigan and across the Midwest. A total solar eclipse is something that we haven't seen in 7 years and won't see again for another 2 decades. For a closer look at the science behind an eclipse, we turn things over to UpNorthLive meteorologist Trevor Robideau.
Solar eclipses in and of themselves are not very rare. Partial solar eclipses happen on average 2 times a year, but a total solar eclipse only happens in a given location on Earth once every 100 years.
Now, our last total solar eclipse was back in 2017. It happened on August 21st. This year's looks a little bit different. It has a slightly different track. But before we talk about that, let's talk about the fundamentals behind how a solar eclipse works. Now, the anatomy of a solar eclipse is actually pretty simple. As we know, the Earth constantly orbits around the sun at all times throughout the year. And likewise, the moon also orbits around the Earth. Now, occasionally, it just so happens that the moon will end up in a perfect position in between both the sun and the Earth, in which it will block some, if not all, of the sun's sunlight. And this is how we get our solar eclipses. Now, there are 2 different types of solar eclipses. One is penumbra, which gives us a partial shadow. This is our partial solar eclipse. These are very common. They happen anywhere from 2 to 4 times a year on average. It's when not completely all of the sunlight is blocked, but at least a portion of it is. Now, what we're really excited about this year is the other solar eclipse, and that is the umbra solar eclipse, or full shadow. This is the case in which all angles of iridescent sunlight are completely blocked by the moon. And that is how we get our total solar eclipse. Now, this year's solar eclipse track looks a little bit different from the one in 2017. This time, it's going to come in from Mexico up towards southern Texas is where it's going to enter the United States. And then it's going to snake up through the southern plains and into the Midwest. It's going to cross parts of Illinois and a good, decent majority of Indiana and Ohio. As a matter of fact, it's actually going to completely eclipse 2 of our 5 Great Lakes, Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. And then it'll eventually move up northeast and escape on the other side of Maine. Now, obviously, here we are in northern Michigan. And obviously, you can see that we're not directly in the path of the total solar eclipse, but it's not a far trek. If you want to go down to see this, that's anywhere from a 4 to 6 hour drive just directly south to get to it. But if not, you'll still be in a very solid solar eclipse. This shade in here where we are is 80% or more of the sun's total sunlight being blocked by the moon. So we're still going to be anywhere from 80 to maybe 90% of the sun's sunlight being blocked in this solar eclipse. So it is still a very, very rare event.
All right, Trevor, thanks so much for that. Again, good information to do there. One of the big questions that we have been asking for months is, after we figured out and learned what that path of totality would be what would the weather be like? Because cloud cover can dramatically impact when we stare up at the sky. How crisp of a view do we have? I'm going to bring this up full screen for you right now. This is the view right now in Dallas, Texas. And as you can see, they are ahead of us on the schedule in terms of the eclipse. So don't panic. You have not missed it. If you're much further north, Dallas, they're going to experience it much sooner. They are in it right now. But with the cloud cover, it makes it very hard, especially for those folks staring in their backyards through their eclipse glasses, to see much of it. They have heavy cloud cover, but as you move much further north, we have been blessed by clear skies based on the comments that we've received on this stream, and we've received a ton of them. Thank you very much. It's all very useful feedback that we're getting. An awful lot of folks here in Michigan, Kalamazoo, all the way up through Marquette, have a lot of blue skies. That is good to see. That will make witnessing the totality of the eclipse and the eclipse in general much easier. Millions of people are looking up and hoping for those clear skies that much of the Midwest have right now. So for a look at what impact the viewing experience will have today, and the clouds will have on that viewing experience, we're going to head on over to our own Up North Live Storm Team Chief Meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. So Joe, what do you think will be the clouds' impact when it comes to our viewing of the eclipse here in the next hour or so?
Well, for us here in northern Michigan, Mark, and around the rest of Michigan, the clouds really cleared out, and that bodes well for the view of the eclipse for us here in our state. But by the way, look at the cameras here. Can you tell where the eclipse is nearing peak? Look how dark it is in Dallas right now. By the way, the total eclipse there at 2:40, so that's in about 9 minutes. They'll reach totality. There's Indianapolis, some clouds overhead there. A lot of folks traveling to Indianapolis. It's right in the center of the totality. And there's a look outside of our studios in Traverse City, blue skies, and down at Detroit, beautiful blue skies down that way as well, there in Wayne County. Let's take a look. One thing we're not talking about, I'll get into the cloud cover in a moment, but look how warm it is along the stretch of the eclipse here, where this is going to pass through some very comfortable temperatures for those folks that are out taking a look at it. There's the path of the eclipse. Now what I'm going to do is lay down the satellite radar imagery on top of this. There's our cloud cover right now. We'll lay down the radar as well. And as we mentioned a little earlier with our sister station, some of the areas of concern down here, kind of on the edge of the path of the total eclipse in southern Texas, and then back up through here, including around Buffalo, New York. You can see some of the cloud cover here near Dallas, and then south of there. Meanwhile, you get up into the Midwest, there are some high mid-level clouds here in Ohio, near Cleveland, Indianapolis, right over St. Louis, but I don't think enough to preclude many major issues there. And this is where there's problems, at least from a cloud standpoint. For the folks there in Buffalo and Toronto, upstate New York, pretty cloudy into parts of Ontario here. And then back in northern Michigan and parts of southern Michigan as well, just a few high clouds here around Jackson down toward Detroit. If you're tuned in down that way, shouldn't have many major issues, just these high cirrus clouds. And then back across the rest of the state, little cloud cover up there around Newberry, but much of the lower peninsula and even parts of the UP, fairly clear skies for the viewing of the eclipse coming up here. So again, you saw there in Dallas, the camera, that's at 2:40, the totality there. It's already very dark, as you noticed there. Here in Michigan, the totality coming around 3:15, depending on where you're watching from. Anywhere from 95 to near 100% totality down here. For the folks in northern Michigan, you're looking more at 87 to 83% coverage across the UP and, again, the northern parts of the lower peninsula. But thankfully, we weren't sure a week ago, but for at least our state, a lot of the cloud cover has cleared out. We'll send things back over to Mark.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joe. We have the clear skies that all the folks that are headed on out to their backyard or out to viewing locations across much of Michigan, much of the Midwest, will actually get the opportunity to enjoy their time out as we near the time of the eclipse. Again, several of the comments posted right now have specific questions about Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, Michigan. What time do we need to be outside and looking? Of course, it varies by location, but right now we are seeing, you're taking a live look there of Leelanau County. If you're in Leelanau County, for example, just outside of Traverse City or in northern Michigan, we're really looking for that peak around 312. So in just about 40 minutes or so, we will be seeing quite a change in that view. You narrow that time down a little bit the further south you go. So plan accordingly, but plan around 3 o'clock if you're in the state of Michigan to start to see things happen. We have all probably learned a lot about solar eclipses and kind of know what to expect today as we've been able to see the path of totality move from the south to the north. We kind of know what to expect. Animals may not quite know what to expect. Chances are they haven't been through one before and haven't had it explained to them exactly why. All of a sudden in the middle of the day, it's getting dark again, and then shortest night ever, it gets light again. So for this year's eclipse, we know how it will happen and what will take place, but not so much is known about its impact on nature. There hasn't been a lot of studies done on that. It's a rare event, and normally everything seems to come through just in ship shape. So Mid-Michigan Now digital anchor Kyle Macon caught up with a wildlife expert to learn more about the impact it may have on animals.
Today, you're going to see a once-in-a-lifetime event. What the last time Michigan saw the total solar eclipse was in 1954. But as it turns out, we're not the only ones fascinated by this rare event.
I've heard of like groups of flamingos circling their little chicks, kind of perceiving some sort of threat going on. The animals just acting really restless and nervous.
In some parts of the country, people are going to get a full look at the total solar eclipse. But to animals, this brief period of darkness and sudden drop in temperatures confuses them and sends them into their nighttime routine.
They might go from just kind of either foraging for food or resting, just enjoying the day, to, oh, it's nighttime, I better take shelter.
Courtney Prout with the Four-Mar Nature Preserve says because of them getting ready for bed, you should be hearing evening songs from birds, frogs, and if it gets hot enough, crickets. The eclipse will also scare animals into thinking that a predator is out to get them.
So things like fish or rabbits might interpret the shadow and the changing temperature as a threat. They might go into hiding or at least act a little nervous. Same for your pets. If you have a dog or cat at home, they will perceive the change in lighting. And they might look a little nervous, a little confused.
Now remember, do not look directly into the sun if you're outside today. And if you do, make sure to have eclipse viewers on hand and you'll be all set. Reporting from the Four-Mar Nature Preserve, Kyle Macon, Mid-Michigan Now.
All right, thanks a lot, Kyle. Good information there. And if you happen to notice, I know that like the Ohio Department of Natural Resources was actually asking people to write in with their comments if they saw that their pet experienced something unusual or something. They were looking to collect research and data on this because, again, this is not something that has been studied a lot. We spoke to veterinarians earlier in the week, and they said, hey, just love on your animal, especially if you know that you have a pet that maybe gets a little skittish around fireworks or other stimulus. Just pay attention to them. Love on them. They'll get through this just fine. So hopefully that's the case for everyone. All right, we are about a half an hour or so away from here in Michigan, experiencing the totality and the eclipse that we all have come to picture. Why don't we go to, let's see if we can go to Dallas, where right now they are in pretty much the thick of things. Well, that is Dallas. That dark screen is Dallas, I'm being told. Is that right, Andy? All right, you know what? I'm going to get out of the way and show you what a total eclipse looks like in Dallas, Texas. That's not a technical issue. That is actually the image coming from the camera that we have shown you for, about the last 38 minutes or so, where it was daylight when we started at 2, and then it started to get darker and darker. Joe just made reference to it right then as he did weather. And that's what that camera looks like right now. It is as if staring into a black piece of construction paper. That is it. I'm pretty excited about that, folks. I don't know. All right, so you don't need to adjust your sets here. We're going to bounce further north and head on up to either Cincinnati or Cleveland, Ohio. That, of course, is Cincinnati. And Cincinnati, of course, much further north, not yet into the heart of their solar eclipse experience. But just for reference, is there any way we can go back to Dallas real quick? So that's Cincinnati, Ohio. They are probably 20 minutes away from their totality. And Dallas, Texas, of course, that's Dallas. So that is probably because Cincinnati is right in that path of totality. That's probably what Cincinnati's gonna look like in just a matter of a few moments. But for right now, Dallas looks like that, and we can bounce back to Cincinnati if you want and show you what it looks like. So this is what we should prepare for. If you are watching and joining us from an area that is not has not yet really gotten the full solar eclipse experience, that's the experience that most likely you are going to get if you are in that path of totality. Think dark, think nighttime dark for a few minutes. And then just as quickly as it seems to arrive, it seems to depart and it will return. Again, a live look right there. Cincinnati, Ohio, right there on the riverfront. Beautiful day. Not a lot of cloud cover there. So they will probably get an excellent opportunity to witness the eclipse. We are going to continue our coverage because we do have partners all across not only the Midwest, but across the country that are helping to bring you the best possible view and best possible knowledge and experience of today's solar eclipse. So we're going to continue our coverage of the eclipse across America with coverage from our sister station, News Channel 3 in Kalamazoo. Andy and Jessica joining us. Good evening or good afternoon.
And we are back with more coverage live from Kalamazoo. It's not long now before many of us will see this eclipse.
That's something some of us are seeing now twice in our lives, and you can see it with us. We've got our team along the path of totality tonight. Take a look. News Channel 3 meteorologist Will Haney is live in downtown Indianapolis, and about an hour or so northeast of there is our chief meteorologist Keith Thompson in Bluffton, Indiana.
And in Monroe County, Michigan, Mike Woolfolk from our sister station, WEYI, is live in Erie Township. And our very own News Channel 3's Autumn Pitcher live in Kalamazoo this afternoon. Of course, we have meteorologist Will Haney with us now. And Will, you're just south of us in Indianapolis. I know how excited you've been for today, planning this trip with your family now for months.
Yeah, you guys, it's been years in the making for me personally. So I saw the last totality in 2017. I was in Central Missouri. And ever since then, I was planning to be a part of this one. And so I am just so honored, so privileged to be able to be here in Indianapolis. Hello from the Hoosier State. And just to be able to witness this totality coming up within the next hour. It's going to be just after 3 o'clock. So really exciting. You know, there's so many interesting things about eclipses, right? The shadow traveling like 1,500 miles an hour. That's mind blowing, right? That shadow of the moon. And then also a really interesting fact I found about Indianapolis specifically was that the last time there was actually a totality here in Indianapolis was back in 1205. So Indianapolis obviously didn't exist then. But yeah, really interesting. They average about every 400 years, but there are some locations like Carbondale, Illinois, for example, that's been talked about a lot in the news, right? Because they're seeing this totality and they saw the last one in 2017. So that 400 years for any given location, it very much is an average. Another really cool thing about Indianapolis is they're home to the Indianapolis Zoo, a world famous zoo, great zoo, and it's right across the river from where I'm standing. What's really interesting about that is when you think about it, eclipses are pretty rare, right? And it's rare for these eclipses to go over a major metropolitan area like Indianapolis with a premier zoo. And so the data set on how animals in captivity react to a total solar eclipse is pretty limited. So there was actually, during the last eclipse, a zoo out in Columbia, South Carolina, Riverbanks Zoo, that did a study, and they found that about 75% of their animals did in fact react in some way to the eclipse. Now, it really can vary for one animal versus the next, how that is. But I was speaking with their director of education at the Indy Zoo earlier this week, and she told me that they are really involving all the guests over there to get in on the observation of the animals at the zoo. Take a listen. Okay, sounds like we're having a little issue getting that sound, but it was really amazing. She told me that they are actually going to have some of their guests taking notes, and then they're using kind of that data, and they're going to compile all of it. So not only there's zoologists over there, but some of the guests at the zoo, and they have extended their hours through about 6 p.m. today. Before I send it back, we'll be back for totality, of course. Eddie, it's your time to shine. Okay, this is 10-year-old Eddie. Eddie, where are you from?
I'm from Wisconsin.
He's from Wisconsin. We won't hold that against you, Eddie, but we are going to do a really cool little demonstration you can do during a partial eclipse. You can do this at home right now, Kalamazoo, anywhere that's seeing a partial eclipse. This is a high-tech device called a pizza pan, Eddie. Have you ever seen one of these? What's on that pizza pan? A bunch of what? A bunch of little holes. Okay, so Eddie, hold that piece of paper in the light, directly in the sunlight. There you go. Perfect. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hold this up, and if you zoom in, we got Pat Hagen on the camera. You can actually see a bunch of little projections of that eclipse. Eddie, you're a marvelous Vanna White. Great job. All right. He doesn't know who Vanna White is, but that's okay. So Eddie, are you excited for totality?
Yes, I
And
do.
you've never seen an eclipse before, right?
No, I have not.
Okay, what do you think it's going to look like? What do you think?
I have no clue.
Okay. You heard it here first. You have no clue what it's going to look like, but I can tell you this, Eddie, as someone that has been through the last one, it's going to blow your mind. Are you excited? Okay. Well, Eddie, give me some next. Thank you. And safe travels back home, my friend. All right. Well, that's going to do it for now. But again, we're going to be checking back in. We're getting closer. And we are just so excited. You can feel it building here, the excitement. But Andy, Jessica, we'll send it back to you.
All right, Will, thank you. And Eddie, thank you as well. He's a star. We need a pizza pan, by the way. Can we get a pizza pan in here?
Or just
I kind of want to check that
pizza
out.
in general would be great.
Yes, breadsticks. Sounds good. Well, weather can make or break what you'll see today. And our weather team has been closely tracking conditions for weeks now.
All coming down to this last half hour. Here is meteorologist Colin Rogers. And Colin, what do people need to know right now?
Yeah, well, Andy, Jessica, the eyes have been on the forecast for over a week now, and we really lucked out. Here's the look at South Haven. People are on the beach getting ready to view that partial solar eclipse here in West Michigan. Nothing but sunshine in Holland. Same deal here in Kalamazoo and Coldwater. Notice these temperatures as well. Many of us across West Michigan are in the 70s. Our record high in Kalamazoo, 79. So we're not too far from a record high with plenty of sunshine. There's a song written about sunny and 75. Some great weather. Few trouble areas down in Texas right now. The path of totality just crossed over Dallas, Fort Worth area. They're dealing with a lot of cloud cover there, but as it continues to trek further north and east, lots of sunshine in Missouri, southern Illinois, across Indiana. You just saw that report from Will. We were seeing lots of sun, just some high cirrus clouds, but you're able to see through those cirrus clouds and you'll be able to view that sunshine. That's some good news there. Trouble spots across New York into Erie, Pennsylvania, but New England is looking great. And of course, very little cloud cover across West Michigan. And that's how we're going to stay over the next half hour or so as that sun and that eclipse tracks further towards, or closer, I should say, towards our region. Andy.
All right, Colin. Well, Chief Meteorologist Keith Thompson's live in Bluffton, Indiana, south of Fort Wayne, and right in the path of totality.
That's right. Keith, what kinds of science experiments are you seeing out there right now?
Yeah, we're live in Bluffton right now, and it is already getting a little bit dusky here. You can really see the shadows lengthening. It's almost like we are at sunset here. Again, live in Bluffton, Indiana. We're on the 40-yard line of the Bluffton High School football field. You know, I've been telling you about some of the experiments that have been going on with the Bluffton Harrison Middle School, but also nearby Manchester Junior High School is also participating in the experiments here. And I have some representatives here, a student. I've got a teacher here. So tell me a little bit about it. First of all, introduce yourself and tell me what you got going on out here today.
Okay, I'm Mr. Terry Pierce. I'm a chemistry teacher. And what we did today is we launched a high altitude balloon during the eclipse. So we had video on there. We had some projects. There were probably about 13 students involved in this. Yeah, 4 or 5 teachers, our curriculum director. So we had busing involved. So it's a great little put together of all the technologies. We are a STEM certified school.
I was going to say, this is all about STEM.
Yep. So, you know, we're promoting STEM and getting it out early, 7th grade, 8th grade, all the way up to 12th.
So introduce yourself. You said you're in the junior high there.
Yeah.
You're a 7th grader. So what are you thinking, first of all, about what's going on right now?
I'm Kai Elliott, and yeah, I'm a 7th grader at Manchester, and we sent up the high altitude balloon. It was great. It's been so fun to just have all the STEM. I kind of want to be an engineer when I grow up, and this experience has been great to like motivate me, and I can learn new things. There's a bunch of coding and circuits and stuff, and that's been really fun.
You guys have really then taken advantage of this and made the most of it, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Who do we have over here?
My name's Aaron Hooks. I teach computer science primarily at Manchester.
And so what is your part to play?
Well, just working with the students on some of the coding and setting up of experiments and trying to record those things. Yeah.
You know, this is a real opportunity because I know that for science teachers, computer science, that you really want to try to hook students in and get them interested, and that this is actually practical. It's not just theoretical. So how does this play into that?
Well, I think first, if it wasn't for organizations like Quest for Stars and Bobby Russell, I mean, we wouldn't have this opportunity. So hats off to the corporations and the people that donate to make funds available, because we used 2.5 tanks of helium. The balloon cost, all the electronics. There's thousands of dollars up there.
Well, and I think Blue Origin is involved in this.
And yep, some of the ties that
yeah.
Bobby has. So we have to give hats off to them, and then hats off to our school getting in touch with Bobby and getting us that opportunity, and then the students who did all the work. So it means a lot to our program.
Well, because you never know how many interests from students that you spark because of what's going on here today, and you end up with some scientists as a result.
Absolutely. I think it's the future. So, you know, that's why these organizations get involved, is because maybe there's a need for some bright young minds coming up, and we need to develop that. So having Quest for Stars, having our STEM program, I think it's a good pairing.
Excellent. Thank you so much, you guys, for being here. They've got work to do, actually. They were kind enough to stand here and wait for me to do the interview. I appreciate it very much. They've got their glasses. We've been viewing. I've got mine here, by the way. And also, I've got my little thermometer out here because it does feel, would you agree that it feels a little cooler out here?
It is darkening, and it feels funny, actually. I can feel the wind dying down a bit.
Yeah.
Things are slowing down. I don't see any birds, really.
No.
It's interesting. There's a change.
But it's like 8 o'clock in the evening here instead of like almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All right. Thanks a lot, you guys, for being here. I appreciate it. So again, that's just a little of what's going on here, because not only are we talking about the spectacle, which is wonderful, of course, but also the opportunity for science teachers, and they are taking advantage of it, of course. Let's take that shot, by the way. I think we have a shot here from our camera that will show where we are right now in the eclipse. And I believe that's up now, right now. And now you can see this is what, if you have those ISO certified glasses, this is what we are seeing right now in Bluffton. This is where we are. Totality for us here in Bluffton is at 311. It's at 311. And so that's what we're waiting for here, is for totality. And of course, you can see now that we are well on our way. And I'm telling you, folks, it's crazy because it's feeling cooler. In fact, I'm here in short sleeves, and believe it or not, I'm starting to feel a little cool, and the shadows are lengthening, and you can really tell a difference that's going on. So again, they're monitoring the balloon, by the way. You know, we had that balloon launch here, and that balloon is now already headed over into Ohio, and it's going to be about 12 miles up, taking pictures, live streaming with several GoPro cameras, live streaming the view back to Bluffton. And also, by the way, across the planet to some schools in the Ukraine as well. If you saw my story at noon, you know what I'm talking about there. You can find that, don't forget, on our website, and we'll have more on that coming up a little bit as well. But those cameras are going to be showing the bowling ball effect of the shadow moving across Indiana, and it's going to be taking that view from way up in the sky there over western Ohio as it looks back over on us. So that's another exciting thing that's going on. So there's so much to do out here, and everybody's excited. You can see we got some folks here. Everybody's starting to now come out here on the football field. When I look over to the middle school, which is on the other side of the camera, I see some folks out here in the fields as well. I think that's exciting too, that people are taking their time to come out here with the proper glasses and enjoying the spectacle, because it is truly something that is amazing. Andy and Jessica, I'll throw it back to you.
All right, Keith. So neat to see, especially with the experiments happening today, inspiring the next generation of scientists and engineers, too. Yeah. Well, now let's check in with Mike Wolfook. He's in Monroe County at the Erie Marsh Preserve, where it's one of the only places in Michigan to be in the path of totality.
Right on the Ohio line. And Mike, what's happening where you are right now?
Hey, I'm looking at the sun right now through the glasses, and we got a pretty good crescent going on here. We'll give you a look through the camera we've got pointed in just a few moments. But again, yeah, we're at the Erie Marsh Preserve, roughly 3-4 miles north of the Ohio state line, which means we're closer to Toledo, which is supposed to get, roughly 90 seconds of totality. So we're kind of anticipating here that we may get somewhere between, 45 and maybe 60 seconds of totality. We'll see what happens. I can say this. that as the minutes go by and more of the moon covers the sun, it is getting noticeably cooler. We have noticed the gnats are coming out now because they think it's getting dark. And we do anticipate that once it goes, completely dark for that brief moment of time, that we're going to experience a whole lot of other different things from nature. I'm going to take a walk over here because I encountered some guys who rode their bicycles from Ann Arbor here to the nature preserve. Tell me your name.
My name's Connor Cam.
Connor, good to see you. You're here with some of your cycling mates. How long did it take you to bike it down here from Ann Arbor?
We were hoofing it, so maybe about 2.5 hours. We didn't want to miss it, didn't know what traffic would be like, so we're moving.
What's the mileage between here and Ann Arbor?
About like 45 each way.
Okay, so just to put this in perspective, my photographer and I, he picked me up in Metro Detroit. It took us 2 hours to just get down here from Metro Detroit. It's probably about the same in distance.
About the same, but we're on dirt roads.
Yeah.
So we're bumping around and having a good time.
Yeah, having a good time. What's this experience like for you? What are you expecting?
I don't know. I'm trying to go in with low expectations and be excited, but I think it's going to get dark, and then I think it's going to get light again. And if it doesn't get light again, I'm going to be real worried.
I think we'd all be pretty worried about that. Have you ever experienced a total eclipse before?
I have not. No.
Partial?
Probably. I don't know. Yeah, I think so.
But it sounds like what I'm hearing is that you have not done this, gone and
have not done this. And I am thankful every minute that we can be here in the great state of Michigan. Didn't even have to go into Ohio to enjoy this.
There you go. Thanks. Enjoy it. So we're going to stand by here because it looks like we're not that far away from totality here in Erie Township. Back to you guys.
Looking good. All right, Mike, thanks. Our autumn picture is live in Kalamazoo.
And Autumn, there are so many people out right now enjoying this beautiful weather, of course, making those lasting memories with their kids today.
Yes, they are. It is really just gorgeous out here. We have hundreds of people right outside the Kalamazoo Valley Museum, and it's really all eyes on the sky. Now, I want to move aside over here to this family here. Look at this. All these kids have their glasses. Can you tell me you guys having a fun time watching the eclipse?
Yeah, we have an amazing time. It's getting smaller each minute.
Isn't that cool? And they even have me put the glasses on just to check. And they're being really careful. They're making sure every time they look up at the sun that they have those glasses on. It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen anything like this?
No. First time.
First time? And Dad, Mom, what is it like to be here with them today?
I think it's a good experience just getting them some time to really just see, nature. You don't really see too much of that nowadays because kids so in their phones. So found out they had the festival going out just for the eclipse. Why not bring them out?
Absolutely. And Dad, have you ever seen it yourself? We know that 2017 was the last one.
Yeah, I saw it in 2017 when I was at school down in Louisiana, but nothing of this magnitude here.
And you're from New Orleans.
Yeah, I moved up here about 4 years ago. Decided we would make a better life for us and our children. And we wouldn't have stuff like this down there. So I'm enjoying it. They're enjoying it. It's a win all around.
And now I want to move aside with the camera over here and just really show how many people are looking up at the sky. You can see hundreds of them out here at the Kalamazoo Valley Museum. They're scattered all across the lawn here. Some of them are in lawn chairs, blankets, standing up, but they're gathered with their friends and family. So it's been a really wonderful day out here. So now I want to move aside over here. I'll show you what the kiddos are up to right now. They're actually drawing with some chalk. You can see they're making suns, they're painting different eclipse designs. You can see that. And we have these wonderful kiddos here. And
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Tell me about why you brought them out today.
Well, they're only 3, so they're not going to maybe know exactly what all's going on, but we thought we'd bring them out here where all the people are at and just kind of make a community event of it.
It's been a fun family experience.
It absolutely has been, yep.
Absolutely. And it looks like they're pretty good here. Look at that. For 3, that's pretty good. So awesome. Well, thank you. Nice to meet you. Now, I want to move aside over here to show you some really cool gadgets that they have out in the lawn. They actually have some telescopes. So if you follow me over here, we're going to speak to, again, this is Jessica. Jessica, tell me, this is such a wonderful gadget that you have for the eclipse. And you can see it right there. It looks like a toenail.
Yes. So we've got a reflector telescope. It's reflecting the light here from the sun, and it's coming into our sun filter. And so we've got just a safe way to view the sun here. And you can see that the moon is starting to go across the sun, and we're almost at our peak totality at about 310. So we've got about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll have the peak at 96%. So.
And you can even see it outside. Just in the past couple of minutes, it seems like it's gotten a little bit darker out here.
Yes, it has. Now, people think that it'll get really dark when it reaches its peak totality, but unless it's actual totality, 100% totality, it's going to be a little bit lighter than we think. So we might see a couple of planets like Jupiter and Venus, but we won't see as many stars as people who are in full 100% totality.
How many chances do we get like this, right?
Not too often. The next one in Michigan, at least, isn't going to be till 2099, but we do have one in 2044. So if everybody's around for 2044, there's one, I think it's around Montana or something like that.
And I was just going to say, Jessica, I mean, have you ever used this gadget before? Is this specifically for Eclipse, or what do you guys use this for?
Yes, so we have them around for eclipses or for other projects that we have. Eclipse viewing, we've got like when we had the transit of Venus, we use them for. But yes, I work at the planetarium, so we use the telescopes all the time for certain projects that we have. But this is the main use I think we have for them, is just kind of bringing them out for the public to see some fun things in the summertime. So.
Well, Jessica, thank you so much for showing it off. And you can see, I mean, really just look at how many people out here. It's been amazing to see the magnitude and really a sense of community coming together for this historic event of the eclipse. But right now, I'm live in Kalamazoo. I'll send it back to you at the desk.
Autumn, thanks so much. Of course, we'd love to see what you're doing right now for this eclipse. So please send in your photos and videos today. As you can see right here, already several of them are coming in. We would love to share them on air. So just head to wwmt.com and click on Chime In. And of course, we will show them as we get them.
Some great photos coming in of our viewers, and as we approach totality, or what we will get as far as totality in West Michigan.
That's right. Of course, we all know weather can make or break what you'll see today. And so far, we've been so lucky here in West Michigan. Our weather team has been closely tracking the conditions for weeks now.
Things are changing out there as we head down to the last few minutes. Here's meteorologist Colin Rogers. And Colin, what do folks need to know as we wait for this now just a few minutes away?
Yeah, Andy, Jessica, you'll notice it looks a bit dim outside as you step outside. I was just able to make it outdoors and snapped a pretty cool picture. You just hold your phone up to your Eclipse glasses if you don't have a solar filter. That would work just fine. And it was a pretty awesome experience. And of course, we're going to see that sun get more and more eclipsed as we approach 310 here in Kalamazoo, give or take a few minutes depending on where you're located. I think it's really interesting. You can see it a little more dim on some of our cameras here. And you'll notice Kalamazoo was at 74 degrees. Those temperatures cooling down a little bit. You're going to get a much drastic temperature drop when you're in the path of totality. But even across here in West Michigan, those temperatures are coming down a little bit. Coldwater was in the 70s just a minute ago. They're sitting at 69 right now. So if you haven't been outside, totally recommend it. Of course, you want to use those solar eclipse glasses. That's the only safe way to look directly into the sun. So some great weather here in West Michigan to get out and enjoy that viewing. Down in Texas, they're dealing with some more cloud cover. It is about to reach southern Illinois and Indiana. They're dealing with just a few high cirrus clouds, nothing in the way of seeing the solar eclipse there. So meteorologist Will Haney, who you'll hear from in just a minute, he's in Indianapolis. They're dealing with great weather. Same drill, just a little further up where Chief Meteorologist Keith Thompson is, into southeastern Michigan and Ohio. They're dealing with some fantastic weather, nothing but sunshine. The only other trouble spot is going to be across upstate New York, and into New England is looking pretty good. And of course, here in West Michigan, it is looking absolutely gorgeous. We're seeing very little cloud cover, and that's how we're going to stay in the next 10 minutes or so. Of course, that peak time in West Michigan that you want to get out and take a look at it, it'll be about 96% eclipsed here in Kalamazoo at about 310. That's when you'll certainly want to make sure to take a break from work, whatever you're doing, just go outside and view it just for a few minutes. It's already starting to look a little bit more dim out there, and that's how we're going to stay as we head over the next 10, 15 minutes or so. It's not going to get completely dark here in West Michigan. You have to go down to the path of totality across Ohio, Indiana, southern Illinois, many other states as well to see that total darkness. And meteorologist Will Haney, he's going to be live in Indianapolis here in just a minute. He's in the path of totality, And it is like a whole nother world when you see day turn to complete night. And it also, you'll notice those temperatures cooling down quite a bit. Once again, that weather looking fantastic down there in Indianapolis, just a few high cirrus clouds. And we're going to toss things over back to Andy and Jessica now.
Colin, thanks. Just 5 minutes away from totality, or what we'll get of it in West Michigan. We've got crews following that arcing line of totality in Indianapolis, in Bluffton, Indiana, in Erie Township on the Ohio line, and more.
So we are about to see the eclipse from all 4 locations right here on WWMT on our digital special. Now we're going to start with meteorologist Will Haney, who's live in Indianapolis. Will?
Yeah, you guys, we're starting to get that crowd. Everyone's getting really excited. The sky is starting to really darken. It has been, of course, but it's getting darker and darker. We're just moments away from totality. What we're going to first see is likely the diamond ring effect, which is going to be a very bright ball of light in that last little sliver of the sun on the top left. That will be followed by something called Bailey's beads, which is a little bit of sunlight peeking through the moon's valleys and troughs in the surface of the moon. So you think about the moon, right? There's different elevations. You're going to see some light starting to peek through. We're getting really, really close. Listen to this crowd in Indianapolis. I'm switching, just taking a few glances at it. Here we go. Diamond ring. Oh my gosh. There it is. The corona, so active right now. The corona are much more active than the last one in 2017, I can tell you that. You're hearing the first reaction of this crowd. Another thing that I can just make note of what I'm seeing, a few stars peeking out. These are stars we would not be able to see until about 6 months from now. But this is truly one of the most beautiful things you can witness on our planet. You cannot overhype that. It brings tears to your eyes. It gives you chills. It is unlike anything you can ever witness. There's a 360-degree sunset around me right now. Incredible. We're probably a minute or two in, at least right now. And this is just incredible. I've waited 7 years for this moment. And I'll wait another, more than likely, about 20 after this. That shadow is right on top of Indianapolis right now. We have 3 minutes and 40 seconds of totality. We're going to send it over to Keith in a moment. He's going to see this totality right after me, within a few minutes difference. But you can stare at it during totality without the glasses. That's what makes totality so special. And I just think of how everyone in this crowd right now, different backgrounds, every age, from all over the country, are all experiencing this together. It unites people like nothing I've ever experienced. It is truly our universe's wonder in front of your eyes. And it is, man, it's choking me up. It's crazy. It's wild. We're approaching the end, it looks like. I'm starting to see possibly a little bit of the Bailey's beads on the bottom, but it's hard to say. I've lost track of time. Moments like this truly come to a standstill. And it's like time stops. It is indescribable. And what's fascinating too, by the way, I just tried to put my glasses on because I forgot. And you can't see anything with the glasses during totality, so that's kind of pointless. But my goodness, this crowd did not disappoint today. 20,000 strong here in Indianapolis, and that's just at White River State Park where I'm located downtown. They have 40,000 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and it's estimated as much as a total of about 100,000 visitors in central Indiana right now. One thing I want to do really quick, I'm going to attempt to get a picture with my phone, which is really lame, but I want to just see. It's just, man, these moments are things that I will never forget. And my family is across town right now. And my 2-year-old daughter, I'm thinking about her right now. It's pretty remarkable. All right, man. I don't know if you guys are looking at the sky right now or me, but this is pretty amazing. And all I can do is stare at the eclipse right now. So I'm sorry I haven't even acknowledged the camera that's staring in front of me. But these moments truly take your words away. And there's the diamond ring on the bottom right, which signals the end of totality. And now the glasses have to go back on. Otherwise, you're going to burn your retina. But you can see, it's like the grand finale of a fireworks show. You get the applause. It's really amazing. And now we're starting to see the sun, the light return. We're out of the darkness here. And, man, 3 minutes and 40 seconds that felt, I'm not going to lie, that felt like 10 minutes. It was very strange. I don't really remember that from the last one of how long that felt. And man, that was just amazing. I want to spend no longer and toss to Keith, who's also experiencing totality right now in Bluffton, Indiana. Keith,
Can you
what are
grab that
seeing?
thermometer? Well, we're live right now in totality in Bluffton, and it's amazing. I mean, totally amazing. We're going to give you that shot coming up in just a second here to let you know what it looks like. But I did look up at it at totality, of course, because it's safe to do so without the glasses. This is crazy. We are having to use our light now totally. You would not be able to see me if not for the light. The street lights are all on. The temperature, by the way, has dropped about 12 degrees over the last 30 minutes or so. We're down now to about 68 degrees. I really feel like I'm going to need to have the jacket on in just a few moments here, because the temperatures are getting cooler. So I think now we can see what's going on with the totality there. And now we're starting to move past totality. So totality is coming to an end now. And so now that it's moving to the other direction, on the other side of the sun. So that's just something, again, that we're going to be dealing with here. We're going to start to see, in fact, we can already feel it getting more light here. We can definitely feel it getting more light. So perhaps now you can see what's going on there with that. And we're going to go ahead and pitch it back to you back in Kalamazoo so that we can go right up the stream there and tell us what totality is looking like in southeast corner of Michigan. Back to you.
All right, it's any minute now here in Erie Township. We're at the Erie Marsh Nature Preserve. I was just taking a look up, and I mean, literally, we can give you the shot as well. It's going to be total darkness. At least the sun will be totally blocked here in a matter of what looks like seconds. Noticeably cooler. It is, of course, darker. And the folks here, everybody's eye behind those glasses is looking skyward, and we have now hit totality at this moment. It looks like sunset already. I mean, and I'm looking off in the distance. You can see the colors on the horizon. It looks like, the sun is setting already. This is an amazing feeling to be happening at, before quarter after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Never have I experienced a total solar eclipse. Only experienced partial eclipses in my lifetime. So this is a moment. It's hard to imagine the sun just completely blocked. And I don't have a stopwatch running, but it has clearly been, longer than 15, 20 seconds so far of our totality experience here at the Nature Preserve. A lot of these folks out here are affiliated with the Nature Conservancy, which runs this facility. They opened it up to their workers, board members, and their families to come out and enjoy this. It's been the perfect place to experience this. The weather has been fantastic. There are some upper level clouds up there, but if you have the glasses on, you can see everything just as plain as day. And that pun was intended. We're now starting to see where our experience with totality is now over. because we're now starting to see the sun reappear along the edges of the disk that is the moon moving across the sun. So it will start gradually getting lighter here again. And we hope it'll start gradually getting warmer as well, because there was a dramatic temperature drop as we got darker and closer to the moment of totality. So again, the moment of totality is over here because we're now starting to see the edges, the golden edge of the sun coming out from behind the moon as it continues to move across the star. But wow, what a moment. There were some brief cheers as I kind of look back at you guys, but there were some brief cheers here when we hit totality. But then it was really kind of just quiet. Everybody just sort of taking in the moment. And what a moment it was. We can tell now it's starting to get brighter right now as we speak. Let me just come right down here. I'm just going to interrupt you for just a second. What did that feel like for you?
Oh, it was awesome. It was like reverence. Got butterflies. I got tears in my eyes. It was just beautiful.
What's your name?
Pat.
Pat, and where are you from?
Right now I'm from Irish Hills area.
Okay. And so you decided to come down here to
with my son. I drove down river to get him, and he drove me here.
That's wonderful. Hey, thanks for sharing your experience with you. I know it was very brief, but that's what totality was going to be here in Erie Township. All right, let's now check in with Autumn Pitcher in Kalamazoo.
Yeah, Mike, we are at the Kalamazoo Valley Museum, and you can see that sky has gotten much darker in just the past half hour. And also you can feel it getting a little bit cooler. It's been about 75, but it's dropped a couple digits. But I want to show you really the crowd out here. We've seen hundreds of people. I'm going to step aside to give you a live look. It's been all eyes on the sky right outside the Kalamazoo Valley Museum. You can see all kinds of people coming together, families doing different activities, chalk. They, of course, all have those solar eclipse glasses. So it's been really fun just to watch them all come together today, real sense of community. But I want to go back aside here to give you a look at what's behind me. We actually have different people that are laying on the lawn back here. So that's been their kind of choice. They're kicking back, relaxing, and just, again, looking up. So I'm going to go over here, and we have some folks over here. We're on live TV. Tell us, folks, you're kicked back in those lawn chairs. Tell me if you're having fun watching the eclipse. Who are you? What's your name?
My name is Josephine.
Josephine, nice to meet you. Are you from Kalamazoo?
Yes, I live here.
And tell us why you came out. You both have your very vibrant neon chairs today.
We would have just wanted to experience it and didn't want to go traveling miles and miles with traffic jams and millions of people.
Why would you do that when you can come right in your backyard? Well, so nice to meet you folks. Now, I want to move aside here. We have some more folks that are actually kicked back, and you guys are in your blanket right here, and you're staring up. So tell us your names and why you came out to watch the eclipse today.
I'm Nanda. Elisa. And we just wanted to take advantage of the beautiful weather and the unique opportunity to do it.
Absolutely. And are you from Kalamazoo?
From Plainwell.
Plainwell. Okay. And then is this the first time that you've watched the eclipse?
We saw part of one in Illinois in 2017.
Wonderful. And how is that compared to this one?
Pretty similar, actually.
I say we didn't have glasses last time, so we couldn't really look at it directly, but it was cool to actually see it this time.
What has it been like to be out here today? Hundreds of people, you're kicked back. You look like you were prepared. Tell me about what you brought out today to spend the evening.
Just brought a blanket, and we should have brought some pillows. And we went and got some lunch at the local restaurants and just enjoying everybody out, enjoying the nice weather.
Yeah, and I was just talking to the viewers. You know, you can kind of feel it get chillier. It's gotten a little bit breezier.
A lot windier,
and you definitely feel the temperature drop. Yeah,
I could tell as it was like moving, you could feel the wind pick up like in the same like time period. So it was really interesting to see.
Absolutely.
But,
and you have your eclipse glasses right there. Can you show those off for us? Look at that. and they have such a nice design on them that the museum put out. So thank you so much, folks. Thank you. So it's been obviously just a wonderful day out here at the Kalamazoo Valley Museum. You can see all kinds of folks behind me, hundreds of people really soaking it up and enjoying this historical moment of the eclipse. I'll send it back to you at the desk for now. Live in Kalamazoo, Autumn Pitcher, News Channel 3.
Autumn, thanks so much. So many fun memories being made this afternoon. You are watching our exclusive online special, Eclipse Across America, and we're bringing you massive live regional coverage of this event.
It's been so fun to experience that with you in real time as we all saw that eclipse, at least part of it here in West Michigan. Let's head to our affiliate WPBN in Traverse City now for more.
All right, thank you. Well, an excitement you could just sense with all of those live reports. It was so much fun to hear the crowds as things got very dark in those communities that are dealing with totality. Fascinating to see. And also, we're getting several reports on the comment stream that even if you are not in that path of totality, you are still noticing the temperature drop. If you go outside right now in Leelanau County, you can feel it. It feels cooler than it did just a couple of hours ago. I believe we do have some cameras across the region that can also help show what's going on elsewhere. This is Cleveland, Ohio. Let me get out of the way of it. That is what Cleveland, Ohio is dealing with right now. This is always one of the prettiest skylines across the Midwest at night with the sun and the lights above it. But right now, this is what Cleveland is experiencing in that path of totality. Obviously, much darker there than it is currently in Indianapolis or even in Kalamazoo as the path makes its way to the northeast of that path of totality. Just a beautiful, beautiful shot there in Cleveland. Oh, you can even see fireworks if you look to the right on the horizon, the left side of your screen, some fireworks going off there. Not often that you get fireworks at 3:20 on the afternoon in Cleveland, Ohio, but it seems like if you're going to launch them, well, today's the perfect day to try to do something like that. Nice and dark. All right, let's head up north to Leelanau County. This is just outside of our studios here in Traverse City, Michigan. A slightly different view, and this goes to show you about that path of totality. Blue skies, blue skies. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that this region, again, Leelanau County, peaked maybe about 9 minutes ago. Andy, is that right? About 3:15, about 6 minutes ago, our peak. We did not experience the darkness, and that is why we traveled, and our sister stations traveled to areas like Bluffton and Indianapolis in order to show you exactly how dramatic a 99% totality event can be. Traverse City today saw somewhere between 85 and 90% totality. It never got as dark as it did in those other regions, but if you had your safety glasses on and looked upwards, you got to see that magical dance of the moon and the sun this afternoon and experiencing that. And you did get to also experience that temperature drop. But we are past our peak experience here in Leelanau County, as we are across much of Michigan. And so things go back to normal. It becomes just another Monday, 3:30 in the afternoon, and we all walk away from this experience a little richer for what we've experienced, what we've learned, and until the next time that we get an opportunity like this. We, of course, any of the stations involved in this unique stream that we did this afternoon would love to see your images, the images that you captured of not only the eclipse, but also your loved ones, your family, your friends, those that you met with in order to have that experience. Share your pictures with us. Go to the Chime In online for our various stations and share them with us so that we can then share them with our viewers. We would love to hear about your experiences on what is proven to be a rather unique day across Michigan, across the country in terms of the path of totality. We hope that you have enjoyed this broadcast. We thank so much for you joining us with this. We hope that that you not only got to see some parts of the country and what they were experiencing with the eclipse, but also maybe learned a little bit. Again, we thank you so much for your time. We know that it is so valuable. And thank you for being part of this experience.